This is the original spoiler on my Nissan Micra, and although it's got this really smart real fake carbon spoiler on the top of it, it's just not the sportiest. So let's change that. So here is the current condition of the spoiler. It's not the nicest, it's in a really bad way. We've got ripped holes here, there's a chip out of the fiberglass as well, and then the whole underside looks like this as well. I'm going to rub this all with a 180 first, and then we'll go and fix these holes here. A mask would be a good idea, forgot about that. So because the condition of this spoiler is quite rough already anyway, with the ripped holes, and it's actually quite skew-with as well, it's bent out of shape and that, I'm going to be bolting it onto my Micra. So I'm going to leave these holes at the side, these two here, obviously tidy them up a bit, but leave the two holes at the side and just fix this one in the middle with a bit of filler. So what I've created here is an absolute masterpiece. This is a sort of barrier thing to get it in line with the rest of the wing, so when I put the filler down it doesn't just droop out. So I don't know if it'll work, but we can give it a try. But I've got some filler mixed up, so let's put this on. It actually worked, to be fair. And then I'll flip it round and put a wee layer on the other side as well. Right, I don't believe it, and this is pretty messy, but the trick has actually worked. You can see slightly there, that's where the hole is. But it's solid, and it's obviously messy under there, but we can tidy that all up. But pretty happy with that. Hopefully it rubs back well and we don't get the hole again. But aye. Right, so it's fully dry, so let's see if we can take this cardboard bit off and it won't rip out where we've put the filler. Yes! Look at that, perfect straight edge. Now we can just rub that bit a wee bit back, and then hopefully that should be it filled. Proper cowboy stuff like, but might look alright. And that is all of the paint removed for the devil wing. Now some of you in the comments might be thinking, was it really necessary to take all of the paint off? And yes, it probably is, because a lot of the time aerosol paints react when you redo them. So that's why I've took all the paint off it. Now I'm going to move upgrade to a 320 and just smooth it all out a bit. But look at the repair, man. Absolutely minted. You'd never even know there was a hole there once you're done with this. Now it's obviously not perfect, but with the condition of this spoiler, I'm not too bothered and it's decent enough. Some of you in the comments might be thinking this is really rough, why not just do it properly? But I think this spoiler's at the end of its sell-by date, to be fair. There's a lot of rough bits on this, and it's obviously fiberglass, so it's a real pain to work with. Like, look at this bit here, it's completely cracked here, it's cracked over on the other corner as well. And even on the underside of the spoiler, you can see it's cracked right along here. So it's pretty rough, like. So I've got the spoiler up to a 500 grit right now. I went right over it with that and it feels pretty smooth. But what I like to do with most things I paint is go over it with a wet flatten. So I'm going to use either an 800 grit or 1200 grit in a bucket of water and just wet flatten right along the spoiler just to make it that extra bit smoother. So obviously 1200 is a really fine grade, but it's just going to allow us to go over the spoiler and get it really smooth. So let's do that. Once I'd finished flattening the spoiler, so folks, it's the next morning. I've got the spoiler set up in the spray booth and I've got the paint mixed up, so let's get into the gun. And here's the colour for the spoiler. It's AGI4 Active Red. It's obviously the Nissan colour that's on my Micra, so we'll get this into the gun. So I've got the spoiler all set up in the booth ready to go, and if you don't know what I'm wiping down the spoiler with here, It's called a tack rag. This removes any last bits of dirt out of the panel and removes some of the static. That's the base coat all dry on my spoiler, and it actually doesn't look too bad. Now you can see where I've repaired it if you go up close, but we're not too bothered with that. And I've also been able to get a decent bit of coverage on the underneath as well, so pretty happy with this. So I've got some lacquer mixed for the spoiler. This is 2 parts lacquer and 1 part hardener. So with the lacquer in the gun, it's time for the first coat. And once again, I'm tack ragging the spoiler, just to make sure it's clean as possible. That's the first coat of lacquer on the spoiler. Look at that man. Nice and shiny. Second coat done. And here's the spoiler all dry. Look at the finish on that. It's pretty clean, like there's a few bits of dirt in the paint obviously, but pretty decent. And I even managed to get most of the underneath on it. That's just dust for where it's been lying down. But it genuinely looks alright. I did have to wait a bit for the spoiler to dry because it's made out of fiberglass and you can't put that on a bake because it'll start popping. But it's all dry now, so why don't we go and put it on the car? So folks, we're on location of the Micra. There it is, there's the original spoiler, there's the added on spoiler, but here we have the big devil wing, and that's going to go here. But first we need to take off the original spoiler, so let's do that. So all that holds the original spoiler on is 2 little bolts here, so let's get them off. To help guide the self-tappers into the boot, I drilled 2 little pilot holes first. And then I done the same with the corners. Now you can see with the fitment here, I'm really having to stretch the spoiler right back to get it in line with the original edge on the boot. But it's a bit of a tricky one, like. There we go. Oh my god. Holy moly folks, that is a spoiler on it. It looks absolutely insane. It's obviously not perfect. It's cracked a bit where I've put one of the self-tappers in because it was cracked there previously, but it looks absolutely mental. So here we go. Right, and unfortunately that does bring us to the end of this video, folks. Thank you very, very much for watching. I know this is a bit of a weird one, and probably most of these were expecting me to load it in this video, but we went for a bit of a mental spoiler. I obviously got this for free. I wouldn't probably pay for this usually, because I think they look a bit weird, but it's definitely funky. It goes along with what we're going for this build. But aye, so we've got a massive devil wing on the back, and it's goodbye to the little spoiler. Comment down below if you think we should add the little mini spoiler onto the back of the big spoiler. I think it would look pretty funny. But aye, thank you very, very much for watching. Please like this video, comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you're new or you're watching my videos and you're not subscribed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.